do here. Riggy, let's go ahead and open up the meeting.
Let's make sure we have quorum though. Hold on for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 makes quorum, I think, with 3 public members. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. All right. As Vice President and designated by the President of the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board, I'm calling the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board into a public meeting session under ORS 692-310, OAR 830-0111-00102 and 3, ORS 192-610, ORS 192-705. This public meeting session is open to the public. The board invites the public to sign up to provide public comment as set in the agenda. In this case, I believe it is going to be by email. Is that correct, Chad? If they want to sign up for public comment, do they want to email you?
They can email Aaron. Should they email you for that? If they
Yeah,
want to do public comment.
there's guests for this session who are being admitted to the meeting now, but Ryan has not forwarded me any emails for this public session.
All right. So please email Aaron or Ryan for any comments for this public meeting. Public comment may be limited to 2 minutes per person. The date is July 24, 2026, and the time is 9:02 a.m. And this Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board will now come to order. Whoever OMCB staff is in charge for recording this session, if you have not already done so, please start recording. And I would request OMCB staff to make a roll call, please.
Yes, before we start roll call, Chad, Maddie from Finance and Ben may not have the most recent meeting invite. Can you send that to them?
Send that? Absolutely.
Yes.
Is there anyone else, Aaron, who needs that?
That was the only person who's teamed me directly.
Okay.
Okay. President Gaskill.
Here.
Vice President Canizares.
Here.
Vice Secretary Treasurer Porter.
Here.
Okay. Craig Collins.
Here.
Deb Harris.
Here.
Holly Houston. Holly Houston is absent. Brady Letter.
Here.
Brady, how do you pronounce your last name? I feel like
Leader.
I know. Leader. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Elizabeth Johnson. Elizabeth Johnson?
She was here.
Yeah, I saw her earlier. Okay, we'll return to her. Kevin Loveland is excused, and Neil.
Here.
How do you pronounce your last name, sir?
Nagus.
Nagus. Okay, thank you. Okay. From the Attorney General's office, Kyle Martin. Here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Kyle.
Executive Director Dresselhaus.
Present.
Thank you, and I am present. And we got a few more guests coming in. Okay, Elizabeth is returning.
There was a different link, so some of us were somewhere else.
Yeah, there were several invites that had to be modified. I apologize for that. Ben Plant.
Here.
Madeline Kretschmar.
Here.
Sherry Lauer.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Haley Morse Miller.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Jaylinda Patton.
Yes, here. But it is Jalinda.
Jalinda. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And I have some Elizabeth Johnson. You're here, correct? I saw her come back to the meeting.
Did we lose her again?
Yeah. Okay. And then I have some guests. Jerry Coomer.
Joey, it looks like.
Joey.
Yeah, Joey.
I'm sorry about that. Joey Coomer. Okay. And can I ask who you're representing? If anyone.
Sure, I'm with Furlong Funeral Home.
Thank you. And Angela Mackenzie Tucker.
Good morning, here representing OFDA.
Great, thank you. Mike Filippelli.
Good morning. I'm here with SEIU.
CIU, thank you. Good morning. And I'm showing Renew NOR. Can I have a name associated with that, please?
That's Serena Trexler, representing Renew Natural Organic Reduction. I'm the facility manager.
Great, thank you and welcome. Okay, is there anyone whose name I have not called? Here's someone waiting in the lobby.
And Aaron, I just want to let you know Elizabeth's having issues connecting, so I'm sending her the links again.
Okay. And I have someone initials VR. Can you identify yourself, please? There you are, unmuted, VR.
That
Vanessa
could be
Rowland?
Vanessa Rowland. Great. And can I ask who you're representing today, please?
I thought this was the general session, so I was
It
just
is
peeking in.
just a public member. Okay.
She works for me.
Oh, okay.
Just Takeda.
Okay. Great. Okay, and we're going to try Elizabeth one more time. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Unmute. There you go.
Okay, we show you here, Elizabeth, and you're unmuted. And now she's leaving. I'm going to go ahead and mark her here. And so the roll call is complete.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
According to the general session thing, it looks like we go right into executive. Do we, is that necessary?
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
think-
it's to discuss advice of counsel, which is important to the subsequent conversation that we will have afterwards in general session.
Is there a way that we can notify these people that are in the meeting that can't be an executive session when we reconvene? That'd be hard, huh?
Yeah, I'm not aware of a notification that we can provide.
Would you be able to reply in the email with the link sent to our emails?
Chad, you
Yes.
use a separate link for the executive session, right?
Correct.
Correct.
And in my experience, folks can hang out in the link for the general session. And then when you rejoin general, they'll be there. And at least that's what other boards do in my experience. So members of the public can just hang out in this link. And then when the board reconvenes, you'll be there when they reconvene. Is that the way it works here, Chad?
Yes, it's a bit, I think it's a little clunky, but I think that's the only way. Oh, unless Sherry has a suggestion. That's my understanding, Kyle.
Go ahead, Sherry.
You can have a staff member potentially keep that link open separately and then send a Teams message to the staff member when we're like 5 to 10 minutes before being done with executive session to alert people. And they could put a chat in or a message in saying we'll rejoin in 10 minutes. That's an option.
Okay. Because there's a lot of public that are here that want to be a part of this meeting. I don't want to exclude them from listening to our dialogue when they're allowed to. So at this time, we're going to go into executive session then. Rugi, can you read the script, please?
Yes, I just pulled up the script. All right, so the board will now enter into executive session, which the public is not permitted to attend. The upcoming executive session is being called under the authority of ORS 192-610, 192-705, ORS 692-18014 and 5, ORS 676-1655 and 6, ORS 696-1751 and 8, ORS 192-6602, large L and 9. And there is a special also announcement associated with that. That is just for general executive session. So all other members are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject matter of the session as previously announced. No decisions will be made in executive session, and at the end of the executive session, we will return to open public session and welcome audience back into the room. And this specific session will, the board is to meet to consider written advice of counsel that is privileged and confidential. And the citations is ORS 192-602 little f and ORS 40225. And we are now adjourning into executive session.
Okay, I'll see you all there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it appears we have everyone here from the board.
All right, we're going to get started. You okay with that, Rob?
Yep.
All right. As Vice President and delegated by the President of the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board, I am calling the Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board back into public session and a public meeting under the authority of 692-310 OAR 830-011-00102 and 3 ORS 192-610 ORS 192-705 in accordance with ORS 192-6301. This public session is open to the public. The date is July 24 and the time is 9:43 in the morning. This Oregon Mortuary and Cemetery Board will again come to order. Staff in charge, if it has not started, please record this session, and I would request staff to make a roll call. And I don't think we need to, well, I think we need to acknowledge the public. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay, the meeting is being recorded. President Gaskill.
Here.
Vice President Canizares.
Here, present.
Secretary Treasurer Porter.
Present.
Member Collins.
Here.
Member Harris.
Here.
Member Houston. Member Houston is absent. Member Leader.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Here.
Member Loveland is excused. And Member Negus.
Here.
Okay, Attorney General Martin. Or Attorney General's Office Rep Martin, Kyle Martin.
Present, thank you.
Yep. Executive Director Dresselhaus.
Present.
Aaron Cowell and present. Ben Plant.
Here.
Madeline Kretschmar.
Here.
Sherry Lauer.
Present. Thank you.
Thank you. Haley Morse Miller.
Here.
Jalinda Patton.
Here.
Joey Coomer from Furlong Funeral Home.
Here.
Angela Mackenzie Tucker from OFDA.
Here.
Mike Filippelli from SCIU.
Here.
Serena Trexler from Renew NOR.
Present.
Thank you. And Vanessa Rowland.
Present.
Okay, is there anyone in the lobby whose name I have not called? Okay, roll call is complete.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
So go ahead, Rugi. You're muted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion on the floor so that it opens and directs the discussion that the board considers a motion that we rescind the vote we made on June 23, 2026, option 6, to rescind that vote and to instruct OMCB senior staff to meet with the DAS Finance to come with more options for the board to consider. And so I would like that motion in place and open it up for discussion.
I'll second that motion to open it for discussion.
Does anybody want to discuss that choice?
I support that.
Chad.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Just wanted to let you know, with the understanding of the potential for the option 6 not being a viable option, we actually have been working with our financial partners, and we have a new option ready to present at this board meeting. So
Thank
we are
you.
prepared to present one.
So let's go ahead and vote, do a roll call vote that we're going to rescind the last option 6 choice that we made, and then we'll go into other options.
Do you need me to moderate that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
President
board
Gaskell?
member.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Vice President Canizares?
Yes.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer Porter.
Yes.
Member Collins?
Yes.
Member Harris?
You're muted, Deb.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Member Leader?
Yes.
Member Johnson? Member Johnson? Okay.
You
I
verbalize
hear
yes,
you.
I don't know if her.
Okay.
I don't
I can
know if
see.
the
I'm
audio
reading
is working.
lips.
Yeah.
Okay. Loveland is excused, and Member Nagus.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Vote has been
Thank you.
completed.
Okay, Rugi, let's go ahead into what other options we have and things.
So, Rob, I have a brief PowerPoint brief presentation that I think would be helpful
Okay.
to provide context. So, kind of where we were and where we're at now, if that's okay to do.
Please.
Okay. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Okay. So here's a budget decision option update, taking into consideration licensing fee adjustments and staffing reductions. So the purpose of this is of this special board meeting is for the board to reconsider their previous recommendation based upon new information that's going to be presented today. A new budget option will be presented, as well as an additional recommendation, and board recommendation is necessary to support fiscal alignment for our biennial budget for 27-29. I just wanted to provide a timeline of the agency budget shortfall to illustrate kind of in a graphic how seriously I and the agency have taken this, and the steps, if you will, behind the scenes that we've done to get to this point. So here's just a brief or a graphic of the meetings and the contacts that we've had since the discovery. So March 2026, during the biennial 2027-29 budget prep, this shortfall was identified. On March 25th, 2026, we had our first partner meeting with our financial partners to discuss. April 1st, 2026, we brought this to the attention of the board officers because we felt that it was extremely important for them to know as soon as possible once we gathered certain information from the financial partners. Then May 6th, 2026, we had our second partner meeting. May 13th, 2026, we had our third partner meeting and included our HR partner, our agency HR partner in that, and moving forward after that. May 22nd, 2026, we met with our policy advisor to brief them on the situation. May 27th, 2026, we had our fourth partner, financial partner and HR partner meeting. June 3rd, 2026, we had our fifth partner meeting with our financial and HR partners. June 3rd, 2026, partner meeting number 5 with financial and HR partners. June 4th, 2026, we met with our AAG and discussed the IDP discussion, which I will cover further in the conversation regarding an administrative fee. June 10th, 2026, we had our 6th partner meeting. June 17th, we had our 7th partner meeting. June 22nd, we met with CFO's Chief Financial Officer to discuss the situation. June 22nd, 2026, we met with our policy advisor again to provide an update. June 23rd, 2026, we had our special board meeting. July 8th, we had a meeting, agency staff had a meeting with Shared Financial Services Administrator. And then July 21st, 2026, we had our 9th partner meeting. So just wanted to let you know that I take this very seriously, and it has consumed, as you can see, a significant amount of agency attention and effort from March of the discovery till now. So just wanted to illustrate the efforts that have been taken both agency-wide and our partners. And I'd like to take this moment also to provide kudos to those partners who are attending this meeting. Ben and Maddie have been outstanding in Shared Financial Services to provide us with varying calculation tables, spreadsheets, and ad hoc reports that we've requested. Haley Morse-Miller has been with our agency, supporting our agency for a very long time, and she is outstanding. And Sherry Lauer, our HR partner, has been outstanding in supporting us from the HR standpoint. And Jolinda has been wonderful from the CFO standpoint. So just wanted to give kudos to all the partners, because we definitely would not be as at this point of I guess, realization and with solutions ready to present if it wasn't for that team. So just wanted to acknowledge that. So here's a review of the board's previous recommendation, which was just voted to be rescinded. If you recall, it was option 6 out of a total of 6 options, and it was listed as the tiered percentage fee increase by license type 2 staff reductions. The approach was to emphasize fee increase for certain licenses, 220% increase for facility licenses, and no increase for individual apprentice intern licenses. It also included a 2 staff reduction, resulting in a 29% reduction of agency staff. The projected or anticipated outcomes of that would be significant service impacts, statutory mandates, key performance measures, governor expectations will most likely not be met. But this option was a lower relative cost impact on licensees compared to other options. So here is the new recommendation for board consideration now, based on the assumption that the retroactive fee will not be instituted. Here's the new recommendation: is a consistent percentage fee increase of all license types and 2 staff reductions. The approach is to emphasize a fee increase for all licensees. If you recall previously with option 6, there was basically an effort to insulate individuals from a fee increase, but due to the adjusted reality of the allowable fees that we could collect, that's no longer an option. So with this option, the proposal is 180% increase for all licensees. That will include individuals, apprentices, and intern licenses. Still includes a 2 staff reduction, resulting in approximately 30% reduction of agency staff, and will still result in significant service impacts, statutory mandate, key performance measures, governor expectations will most likely not be met. Here's an additional recommendation that must be approved to move forward. Currently, the renewal fee structure for crematories and alternative disposition facilities is $100 per year plus $2 per disposition performed during the 2 calendar years preceding the year in which the current license expires, payable biennially. Therefore, our agency does not receive revenue for dispositions until 2 years after they have occurred. Currently, the renewal fee structure for cemeteries is $4 per interment performed during the 2 calendar years preceding the year in which the current license expires, up to a maximum of 150 interments or $600 per year payable biennially. Once again, our agency does not receive revenue for interments until 2 years after they have occurred. Additionally, if a crematory alternative disposition facility closes prior to a renewal period, there is no mechanism in place for the $100 per year plus $2 disposition to be collected. Based upon this situation, the following recommendation is being made. Separate the per disposition interment fee from being paid 2 years after the occurrence and implement 2 payment events during the current year. So it is recommended that the disposition interment fees are due on June 30th and December 31st of each year. By implementing this change, our agency would be able to collect the appropriate disposition interment fee, even if a crematory or alternative disposition facility closes. Additionally, in order for this recommendation to work and for our agency to become more financially stable, the per disposition interment fee must be increased to $9. And as a reminder, the per disposition fee for crematories, alternative disposition facilities is currently $2. The per interment fee for cemeteries is $4 with a cap at 150 interments or $600 per year. The cap of 150 interments, $600 per year, must be eliminated in order for the proposed recommendation to be viable. If approved, this new fee structure will become effective November 1st, 2026, and all disposition interments occurring on and after that date will be subject to the $9 fee and the December 31st and June 30th payment dates. Any questions on this? I'm sorry, Rob, I think you're muted if you had a comment or question.
Sounds pretty clear. I think we're understanding, and I'm really glad that this is the approach rather than the retro stuff and all that. So
thank you, Rob. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what else do you have for us, Chad?
Well,
anything?
I was just going to kind of create not quite, I want to kind of create not quite a comparison, but kind of an equivalent, if you will. It would be kind of more like the death filing fee for funeral establishments and immediate disposition companies. Death filing fees are not associated with renewals. They are paid separately on a monthly basis, as all of you funeral directors know. So it's kind of an equivalent to that, where it's an aside, because it is very strange that this was associated with as a renewal. It just seems very odd. And Kyle, I don't know if you wanted to add your comments on that, I think in our conversation, you had mentioned you'd never seen a situation like this with other agencies.
That's correct. I'm not aware of any other agency that has a fee that essentially is paid like 2 years after the fee is incurred. It's not to say you can't do it as long as you're going in a obviously going forward basis, but I'm not aware of anybody that does that, because you run the risk, like you mentioned in your presentation, that if the licensee goes out of business, then the board never receives the fee, which means that all the other licensees end up having to make up for what that licensee would have paid for that fee. But of course, I don't work with all the boards, but we do work with a number of them in my section.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that.
Rugi. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's finish it first. Go ahead. Finish first.
Go ahead,
Looks like.
Chad, I just want to remind you that there is a plan to implement a cemetery renewal fee so that we can tie a license to an actual renewal date and separate it from the disposition collections.
And thank you for that, Aaron. I believe, if I recall, there was discussion it would make some sense to make somewhat of an equivalent to what the crematories already pay $100 fee a year. So it would be aligned in a sense with cemeteries, because the disposition interment fee would be the same as well as the renewal. That was discussed, and I believe will be a proposal to the board as well. So thank you for that. Rugi, did you have a comment or a question?
Well, before we get down into the next steps, and again, I'm sorry, President Gaskill, but I would like to hear from the public. Can you dial it back on the first slide of the recommendation, please? The one that has
Excellent.
180%. I'd like to hear from the public under the lens of access to services, how this proposal will affect your operation in providing access to the public. Because in my view, if this recommendation continues to limit access to the public, we in itself as an agency will defeat the primary purpose of protecting the public because we will be limiting access to services. So I would really like to open the floor and see how this proposal will impact your operation.
Just go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question or a comment. Public.
Looks like Angela.
Hi, good morning, everybody. The Oregon Funeral Directors Association, has been monitoring this closely. And we provided a letter kind of sharing some of our thoughts with this. I know that a driving huge concern as we are starting to talk to licensees about this is one, we as the general public are still very, very confused how this budget crisis has occurred. So we are, again, respectfully asking that what can be shared with us to understand the nexus of how this is coming about would be very helpful. We are also concerned about staff reduction for this agency. Every funeral director you talk to in the state has concerns about how quickly licensing actions are processed in this office. When you are a small rural funeral home and you desperately need a funeral director and you find a funeral director who is moving from a different state, which is like the unicorn moment, it is a nightmare to get their license transferred in that you enter into this wild abyss where you have this slam dunk candidate who's gone to a national accredited mortuary school, who's worked for 8 years outside the state. But in order to get that reciprocated license, there's very little communication or clarification on how long that process will take. And many of our funeral home owners and operators are left to be in a very undesirable situation where they bring that person on staff, they're paying them a salary, and they sit there for weeks, if not months, unable to do any work as a funeral director because we cannot get the licenses through. I underline passionately that in our interactions with other states like Washington State and California, we do not see the same issue. We routinely process licensing requests and actions, and it's done in 5 business days. And many of these agencies operate with a much smaller staff. So again, we ask for clarification and transparency. Whatever the limitations are, we can work with that. We need the communication of what it is. What are those expectations? We cannot continue to operate in ambiguity.
Thank you, Angela. Well said. Chad, can you address that?
Yeah, thanks, Angela, for that. I mean, I can address that. I don't believe the public received the sustainability report, but I can kind of pull from some of that regarding some of the response. So, I think, Angela, one thing, what are the factors that contributed to the budget shortfall? I think that's one of the questions you're asking. And so I'll just basically read what it says. So the current budget shortfall did not result from a single event or decision. Rather, it developed gradually over many years as operating costs increased while agency revenues remained relatively unchanged. Several factors contributed to the agency's current financial position. One is licensing fees remained unchanged for approximately 22 years despite increasing costs. Inflation significantly increased personnel costs, employee benefits, and other expenses. Financial reporting practices do not always clearly distinguish agency operating funds from indigent disposition funds and accounts receivable, making it more difficult to accurately access resources available to support ongoing agency operations, and opportunities to periodically evaluate licensing fees and long-term financial sustainability were not fully realized or thought that they were needed to be addressed, because the times, and one of the things is how our reports have been presented. I think, Angela, you know, as a previous board member, of how our financial reports were presented. And it was always presented to me that we had a healthy cash balance and we're doing well. The complication to that, the wrinkle to that, is because our operating account, IDP, and to a certain extent, accounts receivable are all in one account. So it looks like we have a healthy cash balance, but once you parse out operating, administrative, IDP, and then accounts receivable, it's a different story.
Angela, do you have another question, follow up with that at all?
I don't think so. I guess maybe I do ask, is there, with the accounting function, so we're talking about this like weird delayment of that we are kind of constantly acting retroactive for our bills. Like our accounting is always in a leg type of accounting function. Have we done like forensic accounting to make sure that like, are there licenses that are in arrears for their disposition fees or their filing fees? And is there a method to make sure that we're kind of having like clean close to the accounting structure, like doing a spot check every quarter to make sure that the revenue that the agency is owed is being paid in a timely manner?
Well, I will say we have a system in place for that addresses delinquent debt filing fees. For disposition interment fees, they would not be able to renew unless they paid those fees currently under the kind of the old fee structure that I'm referring to. So I believe there are mechanisms in place, Angela, that address, I think, both of the kind of questions that you're asking about related to interment disposition fees, related to renewal, and then debt filing fees. I think, was that your question about the two potential outstanding costs or expenses or revenues?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something and I don't want to be investigated. I had a problem funeral home, like we had an issue with some accounting, and we on our own figured out that we had not paid our filing fees for like 11 months. And we got it fixed, but it was like a $9,000 check that we wrote and when, I don't know if you saw that. And we never got a notification from the OMCB that we were in arrears on that. So I was a little bit scared because like I am pretty on top of my accounting stuff. And this was just kind of one that got through in all of it. But I do think I would just ask that maybe we take a deeper dive into it, because I feel like stuff has fallen through the cracks, and because it's a lot of moving pieces. It's a very weird system that it's a little bit on the honor system, but then there needs to be this like double check that does occur.
And I
yes, I
acknowledge
was
that
not aware of
too.
that situation, Angela. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. And yes, I will look into making our auditing, or if you will, or tracking of outstanding debt filing fees to be more robust. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
I want to be respectful with the two hands raised, Craig and Mike, but before we go to a different topic, I would like to comment on Angela's comments too, right, or questions. So before we go to another topic, I would like to give other people a chance, but I do want to circle back with Angela's comments and questions. I have a question for her, so thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious if there's going to be other options. Like when you all met in June, there were 6 options. There was 2 options that had no layoffs, and then 1 or 2 that only had 1. This once again has 2 layoffs, and thus far we haven't been presented with other options. Is this the only option that you all are considering?
This is the only option that has been presented based on, because the 6 options, like I said, Michael, the 6 options that we presented were basically irrelevant based upon certain elements of that calculation. I think this is the one, I think given the time frame and in working with our financial partners, this seemed to be, well, the increase the percent increase is lower, but obviously it will impact all licensees rather than just facilities. I don't know. I mean, if we were to not include staff reductions, those increases to licenses would be very significant.
Yeah, so thanks for that question, Mike. And when looking at this, it was, either we raise our fees, licensing fees, 300 or 400%, or we reduce some staff. So that's kind of where that came from. Craig, go ahead.
Thank you, Rob. I want to concur with what Angela said, because the same thing happened to me this week, and now I owe $14,000 that I'll need to write a check for this week for filing fees.
For filing fees. So it is an issue within there that we're not getting some of that money, Chad, and that's no bueno, right? So
Absolutely.
That needs to be addressed.
I need to look into that. I was not aware of that. So
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Well, so
Rudy, I think, was next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. So just again, without going stuck into the weeds, I appreciate the honesty about the filing fees. But looking globally at the books, which after I was alerted in March, I did a deeper dive into it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And I don't want to really go into the details of why we're here today. But I can already tell you, you can get up to date with all of those filing fees. We will still be in this ugly place. That's just one comment. And then the second one is, what I'm hearing from you, Angela, is you're concerned about the 2 staff reductions. And I'm a public member, so I'm not knowledgeable about this. Am I hearing that one of the 2 positions we're looking at will have a direct adverse response time to the timely way to get your licenses in place? Is that what I'm hearing from you? That maybe we should have a different targeted position so that we don't have a further delay in licensing actions. Is that what I'm hearing from you? Is that one of these 2 positions might have a direct adverse response?
I think that's the concern from the licensees, that even before the budget crisis is in place, that was their number one, like, not complaint, but like concern about the OMCB, that when we'd ask for like OFDA representation, they're like, how do we have a more efficient, transparent licensing timeline for requests? I'm not sure how these 2 positions will impact that, but again, that concern is if the overall staff count goes down, then the remaining staff are doing more work, so things would slow down.
And not to, Rob, not to jump Melissa, but I think Sherry may have a comment about the personnel.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry, if that's what this is about. Yeah.
It is, thank you. So I want to directly answer this question. The licensing manager position has not been identified as a staff reduction. However, when you are considering for such a small agency doing a staff reduction of 2 FTE, workload is redistributed. There are a number of positions in the agency that their classifications are quite broad, so work can be redistributed. So while the licensing manager position is not on the reduction list, when you're reducing over 20% of your staff, you can certainly expect that either work won't get done and there will be a redistribution of work. So there will certainly be an impact to the agency in some way. Angela, what I'm hearing you say from licensees is ensuring that the licensee aspect of it is least impacted if there are staff reductions, that there are real concerns about whatever reductions take place, that it could have an immediate impact to something that's already been a concern.
Yeah, that would be correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Melissa.
Kind of, piggybacking on Angela's diving into everything, and is there a mechanism for tracking with if somebody is in arrears and everything? Of really looking into as well, like some of our smaller locations that are not as tech savvy. And if they have missed their emailed renewal notice, that they're not renewed, especially on the cemetery side where they're real small, rural, not tech savvy. Of making sure that we're not looking at everything so point that electronic is the only way of trying to do something, but we really need to look at that as well. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Melissa. I don't disagree with that. Some of these little old people that run these little cemeteries, you know, and I still have a flip phone. Okay, Rugi.
Thank you. You know, we will obviously have to make a vote about this recommendations, or we decide not to make a vote. But I'm already thinking here with the comment from the public and comment from Sherry, instead of pigeonholing ourselves specifically to a specific position, I am more comfortable to just say to staff reduction, and that we further investigate what makes more sense that would have least impact as we redistribute the responsibilities. And again, maybe we have to name it, but I'd rather just say two staff reductions and leave it open as to what staff positions there are. I don't know if we are obligated legally to name it, but in reality, I really think it should be two staff reductions that would have the least operational impact of the agency. And it looks like Sherry's already going, oh, no, you can't do that. So thank you, Sherry.
Go ahead, Sherry.
You need to be mindful because a rate increase is being considered. And so the staff reductions were based on the salary and OPE of the positions itself being reduced. So the fee adjustments could be impacted depending on if the position reductions are different. So one is aligned with the other. You could do that, but it could have some implications into the fee increases that are being proposed.
What I'm saying, and I know that Neil had to, just to quickly answer is, I get that. We want to be equal or more. And what I'm saying here is two staff reductions, no less than what is being presented, but we really need to look at the whole OMCB staff. And we're going to look equal or more that will not affect the equilibrium and balance that finance is doing. But for us to say we're just going to do compliance specialist 1 and administrative specialist 2, I would just say two staff reductions that would result the balance of what DAS wants to achieve. But I really don't think we should just say compliance specialist 1, and then I think it is open for review for all OMCB staff. That's what I'm going.
Neil's had his hand up for a long time. Let's hear from you.
I apologize, but yeah, go ahead, Neil.
You're good.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, and also a public board member, you know, I'm concerned about the customer service aspect. And I think the whole thing is unfortunate. I mean, you know, hindsight, if we'd have paid more attention to it earlier on, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And if we, you know, 20 years of not raising fees, it seems unreasonable to me too, but that's all done. We have to deal with it. But I am concerned about the customer impact on this. And you know, as the funeral director's letter said, it's been a problem even up to this point. And by reducing staff by, you know, a third, basically, it's going to probably get even more difficult. Plus, you know, the key performance measures that the governor is expecting, probably not going to be able to meet those either. And I just wondered if, you know, I know there's no good answer here, but is there any possibility of looking at not just total reductions of staff, but maybe cutting back some hours, asking people if they'd like some unpaid leave or anything like that, that's been considered that might help in reducing the number of staff that are eliminated?
Sherry, go ahead.
So because of state law and contracts, we don't have the same mechanisms that you do in the private sector. So these several staff are represented staff under a collective bargaining agreement. And so we can't just arbitrarily ask people to take time off or unpaid time. all of those things have to go through a collective bargaining process, and we can't initiate those types of conversations here because it is subject to bargaining. So there are a lot of limitations that we have because of just our contracts and policies that we're obligated to follow. There's also rules about how layoffs or reductions in force are done. And so that all is through negotiations and bargaining.
Yeah, even on the layoff piece of it, is it all done by seniority? I mean, if we say, even if we, said the names of the positions, is it still done by seniority that somebody would be able to bump somebody out of that position and take it over? Or how does that work?
That's a very in-depth question and depends on every position. Every position is represented different. So if somebody is represented by a union, their rules of the union apply. So bumping rights are articulated in the agreement and is typically based on seniority, but also skill and ability and being in the position. There are some positions that are not represented by a union, and those have different rules. So my answer is it depends on the actual position and potential individuals.
Thank you, Sherry. Aaron?
Yeah, so Ben Plant and Maddie worked on a new ending balance calculator for us yesterday and presented it. And the wild card in all of this is a disposition fee. So this new calculator insulates the licensees from fee increases if, for example, you decide, well, we don't want to get rid of 5 positions, we want to preserve a 6th. We can input a new number into the disposition line item, and it shows you how much more money comes to the agency under that scenario and insulates licensees from a larger increase. So that's different than what we had before in terms of the calculator we were working with. So I just want to throw that out there. If, for an example, the IDP person is one of these positions and you wanted to preserve the IDP position, we could possibly model that out and saying, okay, well, with an $11 disposition fee, that can be done. So I'm just throwing that out there as an option. It's the calculator is different this time around, and Ben worked hard to sort of line item out disposition from licensing fees. So there's an opportunity there to sort of scale things if you want to see what would be required to preserve positions.
Sherry?
A clarifying question for Chad, because I always know enough to be dangerous. What ARB deadline is your agency under? ARB is for the agency recommended budget, because reduction options have to be clearly spelled out in the ARB, including the reduction of positions. And so the positions would have to be identified for when that ARB is due. Chad, when is your ARB due? I thought it was the 31st.
It is next Friday, Sherry, but I have been talking with CFO and Shared Financial, and Jolinda, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically too late to submit this for ARB, but between ARB and the governor's budget, we could adjust that accordingly. Jolinda, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll be able to do some adjustments for governor's budget.
Yeah, we've had this discussion, Sherry, just to let you know, and the board. We've had discussions about how, because it's a really unique time, because it's budget, and as that's kind of what spurred this is the budget preparation for 27-29. And we had discussions about if this is, when are things due, ARB, et cetera. It's a really busy time and we're an early agency, early submitter. So we are due. I have to complete the ARB by next Friday. Exciting times. And it's too late for that.
When would that decision need to be made for staff reductions? What would be like the latest time?
Do you have a time frame for that?
I do not know what that deadline would be, so I will look into that.
Any other questions for staff or board members, I would like to say personally, I've also Rugi and I have spent a lot of time with Sherry and Aaron and Chad, and it's just been an incredible amount of energy and concern and not wanting to willy-nilly, oh, let's just get rid of a couple staff members, no big deal. None of that's happened. Obviously, we would love to save all the staff, but I don't see how it's protecting the public by having them having all the fees go, raising our fees so high that we can't operate ourselves. It's for us smaller funeral homes, it's a budget item. It takes money and it's hard. Any other questions or concerns or thoughts that before we get into this next section? I would like to address you, Rugi, that I 100% agree that naming two positions is harder to take when we can maybe put somebody from that position in another position that would do much better and not have that other person. All those things are in equation for all of this. So that's all I got to say about that. How do we want to proceed now? Do we just go to the vote now?
We need to make a motion. Unless Chad wants to say something.
If I may, and I think I just want to bring up and for clarification, I believe there are 3 recommendations that staff is bringing to the board. One is to move forward with the option that was presented today. Number 2 is to approve the recommendation of the $9 disposition fee, shifting it from being associated with renewal to actually being an isolated or standalone fee. And the third one is whether or not you're in favor of implementing a $100 per year renewal fee for cemeteries to be in line with crematories and alternative disposition companies. So I believe those are the 3 directions that we need from the board to move forward with our rulemaking.
Are they distinct from each other, or can we combine them to help financially?
That might be a Kyle question. Sorry to put you on the spot, Kyle, but how should, because they seem a little different, but I defer to your recommendation on that.
Well, if all 3 are necessary for the board to meet what it's looking at doing from a financial standpoint, then they should all be in basically one motion to initiate rulemaking to do all 3 actions.
Thank you. Craig.
Yes, thank you. Maybe this isn't the right time to suggest this or ask about it, but is there any way of taking the IDP coordinator and having it paid for by the IDP fund itself, so it's not coming out of its? I don't know. Does that make sense, Chad? Can you help me out on that? I think I discussed that with you briefly. Yeah. Thank you.
It does make sense, Craig, and that actually has been discussed behind the scenes, if you will, as an option. And that is something that will be presented and charged to the IDP advisory committee to determine whether or not that should be a viable option. It's my understanding that many programs that are operated do fund the administrator or the facilitator of that program, whether or not fully or proportionately. I think that's to be determined, but doesn't seem out of the ordinary. But that has been discussed, Craig, and that will be a topic for the advisory committee to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Craig. Go ahead, Neil.
Do we also have to vote on the idea of not waiting 2 years to collect the fee?
Correct.
Yes,
yeah,
Neil, that would be part of the $9 disposition fee would be pulled or separated from renewals, and that would become a part, like a kind of a new fee or a kind of a separated fee now, unrelated to renewal.
Okay, thanks.
Great question, though.
Go ahead, Rugi.
Because I would really like to make the motion. And again, you can knock it down as a group, but I'm now really confused. As what Kyle asked, do we need all three recommendations to make it financially work? Or should we vote individually? Or are you still not prepared that it's distinctly one of the three? You follow what I'm saying? I'm now confused.
I do, Rugi, and to answer your question, 1 and 2 are necessary, absolute necessities. Approving the option of the increase and the staff reduction is a necessity. The $9 disposition is a necessity. We're just better identifying how it will be collected. The third option is a recommendation because not necessarily tied to the budgeting, but as a renewal, it seems kind of odd to have a renewal with no type of payment because all other licenses have a fee associated with renewal.
So will it be critical? I appreciate, Craig, you're waiting, but because I will make the motion, so it's very crucial. Can we wait for option 3 and just vote on 1 and 2 together, the recommendations collectively? Or should we need to decide that now to financially move forward? I'm still not clear with what you're sharing with me, right?
I think Aaron might have a response to that.
The recommendation 3 to have a renewal fee for cemeteries is not considered or built into the proposed budget. So if you don't proceed with a vote on that, it's not going to impact the budget projection we're talking about today. It would be additional money that would be brought in that you didn't expect, but it's not going to impact the projection we're talking about today.
Thank you. That answers my question. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Just one other thing. Like I said, just to reemphasize, but then in that case, if 3 is not approved or recommended, then cemeteries would be the only license without a fee associated with it renewal. So that's all I'll say.
Craig?
Can we structure filing fees and disposition fees to be paid the same way? Either way, I've got to pay it. So I almost would rather pay it the way when I get notices to pay my filing fees, I'd almost like to pay my disposition fees the same way. Does that make sense?
It does, but the difficulty is because death filing fees, Vital Records is the one that collects the records, sends us a text file, we upload it to our database, and it automatically creates invoices based on that information to the appropriate funeral homes and immediate disposition companies. There's nothing in our database right now where we have an automated system to where we can bill for these disposition fees, because I mean, it just was brought up. So we don't have a mechanism in the, but it seemed, and for administrative purposes, because we're gonna have to internally track this now because there's not an automatic system. So some staff is gonna have administratively gonna have to take in those twice a year payments from every crematory, alternative disposition, and cemetery, and add that into, and however we choose to bill that, etc. We could do it.
Okay.
I mean, we could potentially automate it in the future of a bill, but to have it fall because it's a different timing, because death filing fees are due monthly, right? This one will be due twice a year. So why can't we make
disposition fees due monthly?
It'll be. I think it's for a system for staff time.
Okay.
It would just be too labor intensive to do it on a monthly basis to get all those payments.
Okay.
To process all those payments.
Thank you,
Melissa.
Yeah. So regarding with option 3 with the cemetery licensing and everything where they haven't had it before, I'm not opposed to the idea of implementing that, but I think we need to be cognizant of some of our smaller cemeteries and looking at what if you suddenly, they have never been paying it and then they are expected to pay a fee, of looking at that. So is it going to be all licensed cemeteries? Is it going to be all of our exempt cemeteries? I think that needs a deeper dive before we start implementing it.
Disagree with that.
fair, and maybe it's a prorate for super small cemeteries or something, but not opposed to the idea of it.
So what I would like to do then is, with that, I've been feeling this way. I think we should just table that vote until our next board meeting.
Table number 3 option, Rob, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to make a motion on that. We need to make a motion because it was
I
presented.
understand, but we're not there yet. We're not there
Yeah.
yet, please. Almost Sylvia. Sorry, I'm sorry. Renew. I forgot your first name. Sorry. It'd be helpful
Thank
if you
you,
would
Rob.
put your name on. It would be helpful though if you would put your name on there and not your company for future.
Yeah, for future, I'll log into my personal account, so then you'll see my full name instead of Renew.
Okay. Thank you.
Melissa.
Go.
Thank you, Rob. My concerns are echoing Melissa. What is the cemetery fee going to apply to? Because there's also, private family cemeteries. Is this going to be affected? Are they going to have to pay a fee? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now Rugi, you're on.
Yep. Can you please put it on the screen so that I don't misspeak on the slide, and then quickly shift it to the option 2 so that I can articulate what's on deck for the motion.
I'm sorry, Ruby, I was responding to.
I will do it. I
board
will
member
wing
email.
it. Never mind. We're good.
No, I can share it.
I got it. I got it. I'd like to make a motion for the board to consider a vote edited, modified, that the recommendation be made for this particular slide, but the edit is not to specify the compliance specialist and administrative specialist, that we will generally have 2 staff reduction that would have equal financial impact with least operational impact. So that's my motion. We are crossing out compliance specialist 1 and administrative specialist 2. And then the second one is to accept the recommendation. Go ahead, please. Next slide.
Oh, sorry.
What is recommendation 2? On this slide, that we have all of these changes made to help the financial impact. They go hand in hand to balance the finance, and that I would like to table the decision on a separate motion and a board meeting about the cemetery filing fees. And that's the motion.
Thank you, Rudy.
So
Kyle,
excuse me,
go ahead.
Rudy. Yeah, I'm assuming that that part of that motion is to direct staff to move forward with rulemaking to implement those changes.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Neil?
So as part of that motion, that we're accepting that recommendation with the change that we're not identifying specific staff?
Correct.
Okay.
Do I hear a second for Rugi's motion?
This is Porter. I'll second the motion.
Okay, we need to do a roll call vote. Aaron?
Okay. President Gaskell,
Yes.
Vice President Caniceres,
Yes.
Secretary Treasurer Porter,
Yes.
Member Collins,
Yes.
Member Harris.
Yes.
Okay. Member Houston is absent. Member Leader,
Yes.
Member Johnson, Member Johnson,
She's there,
Can't.
she's on, but we can't hear her.
I can't hear her.
She's nodding her head, yes.
Yes,
Thumbs up,
okay.
maybe?
All right, affirms through head nodding, yes. Loveland is excused, and Member Nagus. Sorry.
Abstain.
All right, the vote is complete.
Thank you very much. With that, we can probably just adjourn the meeting. Is there any other things we need to talk about before we adjourn? Chad?
Do
Kyle?
we need to vote on tabling that third option or not?
That was,
I think that was included, if I recall, in the motion.
Oh, okay,
That was included to table option 3.
okay.
I believe that covers for today, Rob. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all so much for being here and helping us and work through this, staff and people from the state, and then having the public members is very important here today too. And thank you again, everybody. Until next time, take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.